Hello, this is Kyle. I'm joined here with Abby, Chandler, and Sean, and this is our video for Milestone 1 for Dr. Mangana's game dev class for 2023-2024. And this milestone, we mainly focus on getting concepts out for what type of game we want, and also making some technical spikes along with that. The name we chose for the game is called Drawn to Brawl. And the point of this game is a 2.5D platform fighter where the two characters are 2D, but they're in a 3D environment and they have a pen-like style. The type of game that we're trying to go for is a party-style, fast-paced game with a main menu, some map selection, and then, of course, the battles. And some mechanics we plan to add onto the game is a point system where players must gain points by hitting other players or ruining the environment, allowing players to pick up objects to throw or use against other players. And if you get knocked out of a battle, we started toying around with a possible drawing mechanic as well. So for characters, we're kind of looking for a drawn aesthetic. Think of Castle Crashers or Paper Mario, where the characters are just 2D and they kind of flip as they turn. On the left are just some things that we're basing off for reference, and on the right are some of Chandler's concept art for characters that would be in the game. As for menus, we're looking for something more dynamic and flashy. Think of Persona 5 or Friday Night Funkin', and for example, this is from a Roblox game on the right, a game called Fighting. The menu is very flashy with tons of colors and dynamic with a more drawn style, but still easily readable. And here's some concept art Chandler also cooked up as well for us. Pretty nice. For stages, we're kind of going for an isometric view, so on the left and the bottom are examples where the maps have no walls on one side because the camera will stay stationary for the most part, and then players will fight around in this arena in a 2D view. And on the top right is more of an example of, or it's some concept art that Chandler sketched up of a saloon map that we're thinking of. As for controls, we want the controls to be easy to learn and easy to use, but maybe hard to master at this point. Since it's a party game, we don't want to limit people out from having a high skill ceiling, but we also want to make it easy enough for anyone to get in. As for individual demos, I worked on a multiplayer demo in Godot, and I did mainly research, and here's a result of what I did. So if I click play here, I can pull up two clients right here, and I can tell one client the host. This is in first person. I got some basic movement down, looking around, and then if I alt-tab into my other one, click join, now you can see here, I am moving the character on the right here, and you can see it replicating to the character on the left. So a lot of my spike was figuring out how to actually get this working in Godot, getting replication, and how to actually make this secure, along with learning Godot. I'll bring it up to Abby next with her technical spike.
Right, my technical spike was learning a low poly style in Blender. I'm still relatively new to Blender, so I went for a more basic theme. So I decided I was going to create a very basic scene in Blender, which is basically just a bunch of like mountain ranges or hills, and then I made a lake. And then after that, I also made a bunch of trees and learned how to make the trees in a separate blender and then copy them into the blender that the scene is. And that was very important because for our actual game, I'm going to be making the blender objects that are in all the scenes and the scenes, and so it'll be much easier if I can make the objects on their own scene and then bring them into the scene blender.
Straight fire. I'll go into Chandler's stream now. What's your spike?
Yes. Mine was essentially just fooling around with the movement. I'll go into the script because that might be a little more useful for you with this right now. But yeah, just getting the controls scheme established and coding that in. We got some physics going on here with the falling, but I'll go into the demo of that. I just made a little basic example stage, but I was also responsible for figuring out the how to implement the 2D sprites in a 3D environment, which you can obviously see I accomplished, which is pretty hype. And then so when I click, I'll also do a move, which was part of the spike as well, is to get just like a basic move down, and I'll actually get this into window mode because you can see in the console nothing really happens because it's just a little test pill right here for collision. But yeah, when I click on it, you can see it says enemy hit, and then when I click outside of it, everything will just be switched out in the future with some of the drawings and animations we do. But yeah.
Epic, epic. And then lastly, I'll bring it over to Sean.
Yeah, so my part of the spike was a lot less anything interesting and more just a supportive role, setting up the repository, researching plugin support for version control within Godot, which is way more complicated than it needs to be, and supporting talks about game design and development and all that sort of planning stuff as we approach actually beginning this project pretty soon.
Sounds good. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and we hope that you have a good day, Dr. Mangania, and the rest of the class. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get some claps. Okay, I'm stopping the recording now.